Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home Coffee Brewing with April. I'm in the April Roastery, but the video we're gonna see, I recorded a little bit earlier this year in Los Angeles together with Peter. And in this video, and as one out of two videos from Peter, we're gonna see how he's using the April brewer at home to brew a really tasty coffee. So we're on the inside and we're getting ready to brew some coffee, right?
Yeah.
What are we brewing today?
So we are drinking Finca Soledad, their Sidra.
Yep.
Washed from Ecuador, Pepe Gijon's, Gijon? I don't know, it's coffee, but roasted by Sey from New York.
Yep.
Brooklyn.
Sey Coffee, so Brooklyn, right? Which is, I believe we have featured here once or twice before. I would say in the US, a bit more of a light roasted
Considered
approach.
probably one of the lightest in US, I would say.
Yeah, I think they're more like Scandinavian-ish roastery, if you're allowed to say that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just nice people also, which is cool. Okay, is this a coffee that you brewed before, or is this a brand new coffee?
I have, but you know, I brew my coffee differently every time. So because I like to kind of try different methods and different recipes every time to see which one's better. So I can't say I got it down to the best cup, but
fair enough.
But I'll just try my usual way, and then you can tell me what you think.
How many grams of coffee do you normally feel you're using for a new coffee until you have a tasty cup? Is that cup number 10 or is it cup number 5 or is it?
I don't think it matters for me. I think I'll start probably around 15.
Okay, yeah.
And then sometimes I'll do a bigger dosage, like 20 grams.
Okay, sure.
On and then also maybe play around with something smaller, like 12 or 13, to see how that changes too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're more exploring.
Every cup is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every cup is a little bit different. This gentleman also competed in the April Brewers Cup in Los Angeles. Yesterday, pretty much, this is the day after competition. So that's also really interesting, right? And I see, I'm not going to say anything, but I see some gadgets that I saw yesterday in the competition. So I'm sure we're going to get there, right?
The gadgets didn't really help though.
The thing is, gadgets is very fun. And I think there's something that I recommend in terms of you want to explore and try and test new stuff, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw one of the things you were using, and we'll get back to it later, then I got pretty excited. So, I'm going to try that when I come home. And I think that's part of why we do the competition and these videos is because I'm just stealing your ideas, pretty much, right? I just want inspiration and see what people do. And then you take it home and you try it and you see how can I implement that on what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
But no, gadgets doesn't always get you where you want to be, right? We also had some people with some, let's say, very fancy grinders to the competition. That also didn't necessarily do better than less fancy grinders, right? So It's always a combination. But yeah, you just go for it. And then I'm going to ask you some questions, I'm sure. But we need a scale. And you have, we'll get some close-ups on what's behind me here, but you have one of the fanciest, most organized coffee shelves that I've seen in the world of homebrewing. This looks like a coffee store almost, right?
Yeah, I guess I don't have. I think was it Don from Korea had a Cinecell espresso machine at home. Single group. I don't have that, but I do have the meticulous coming soon.
You do?
Yeah, that's coming.
That's super exciting. Yeah. I got to try it. Have you tried it?
No, I haven't tried it.
So you got it, of course. Yeah. Kickstarter people got it before they tried it. I tried it. Good purchase.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So you save money when you do Kickstarter. So
true that though.
Yeah. So I bought the key grinder during the Kickstarter as well too.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But I like to keep it a kind of black and white theme with some wood touches.
You clearly have a design element going on here for sure, or just design visual.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. I think that makes sense.
It makes me feel good every morning I walk down here. And
how does the yellow brewer fit in to this?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't get it normally. So I would have more black theme brewers.
Yeah,
as well too.
You actually have 2 yellow even.
I borrowed one for April Cup
for the competition.
Yeah, sure, I actually started with your original first ceramic.
You're one of those.
Yeah, and it came broken like this.
No, it came, and you didn't write me.
I did.
And we gave you one?
Nope.
Why didn't we do that? Are you serious? Okay.
So I
fixed that.
Yeah, so I said, hey, it came broken.
Yeah.
Can you guys do something? They're like, no.
Okay. Oh, I do apologize for that. That's interesting.
But I mean, I think it was kind of something like maybe I had to contact the insurance company or the carrier and then figure it out. I don't know, but
I'm sure it's all our faults. We'll send you a new one.
Yeah,
we have a new one coming, so you can get like the new one.
But it's like the sentimental value of kind of having the first one.
True though,
right?
There's not a lot of people that got that first one, right?
But I still this is what I use mostly still, broken.
Okay.
It was still be able to go on, and I was still able to use it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but great brewer.
That is crazy, man. Cool. Coffee. How much coffee are we brewing?
So today, let's try 13.
Let's try 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
similar to what you used yesterday in the competition, or
I actually used 15. I wish I used 13.
Okay. So you're gonna use the same amount of water
as yesterday?
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
Maybe? Okay. So less coffee and more water. Then you brewed really tight yesterday.
Or should I do it just kind of how I normally do it, and then
I say you just do whatever you feel.
Yeah, let's try it.
Then we talk about it.
Yep, let's try that thing.
Now I'm here, so if there's anything you want a bit of feedback on, you just go for it, right?
Yeah. All right. So let's try 13. Is it okay if I use my hand for a coffee?
You can absolutely do that.
Okay.
Homebrewers can do a lot of things. When you're competing, you have to consider it. Okay, so 13. Do you always store your coffee like this?
Store it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Always store it in the vacuum sealed.
Okay, that's cool.
So keep it fresh.
Do you ever freeze coffee?
I do. I have some frozen too. The ones I really like, I freeze them at I guess kind of like 3 to 4 weeks since roasted.
Okay.
I keep it in there and then use it later for to enjoy.
How long? I'm curious about this, and we did another video here in LA as well, and he also had this massive freezer of coffees. How long do you keep it in the freezer? Like, do you have a limit there, or do you just?
I would say maybe like 6 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because I know after you freeze it, I mean, it's not gonna last you forever.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. So now you sprayed some water on the coffee. Mm-hmm. Interesting discussion here, right? So there was a fairly recent YouTube / paper on this. Was it Hoffman that argued that extraction will be increased or improved? Because initially it's for, why do you do it initially?
For a static purpose, right?
For static, exactly, right? But then someone else said that you actually can extract more.
By spraying.
Yeah. Personally, when we talk extraction, I'm not a fan of the term extracting more. I want to extract better. And I don't necessarily feel that that's the same, just as a side note. Okay, but we got the coffee, we sprayed some water on it. Commandante grinder.
We'll try I have another grinder I normally use.
Yeah.
So, but then it's not on the bar.
Okay.
Because it's ugly.
What's the name of the ugly grinder?
I'm sorry to that company, but Vario, Vario something. I forget. Okay. But I won that from Lance Hedrick's giveaway that he modified. So he changed out the burrs to like a steel burr instead of ceramic, and it tastes really good, I think. But I normally use it, but I don't keep it on here because it just doesn't go well with me. It doesn't look good.
So fair to say that for you, aesthetics is almost more important than function.
I mean, you gotta find balance.
Okay, this is balance.
Right? And that's why I have other ones that I also use too, right?
But then I'm curious, because you have this, you have this, you have that. Is it, okay, I have this kind of coffee and I feel it works better on either of these grinders? Or is it just today I woke up and I'm feeling like fellow, so I'm doing fellow?
Yeah, no, for me, it's about having different options for me to test how it changes with different grinders, different burr sizes, different temperature of water, all that stuff. Sure. So I just want more toys, I guess I would say, to experiment.
What's the one you don't have that you want to have? It feels like you're a person that would have like a...
Maybe like a Weber EG1 could be interesting.
Weber EG1. Did you try the option O?
The P
EO1. Yeah, the new one. No,
the new one.
The
one.
The one we had yesterday.
Oh no, I didn't.
That would look great here.
Oh.
You have to switch. I mean, that's a bit. It's a bit bigger, right? But
yeah, cool. But it all happened in order. Like I started with the Commandante, and then and then I got the Ode because you wanted something that's not manual, right?
Sure.
For brewing. And then when I got the Flare, this was too much work.
Sure.
Right. So then I was like, what do I get? And then so I got the Lago Mini because that could do both. And then I heard the Weber keys coming out. Like, okay, I need that for my kind of end game espresso grinder. That's what I was thinking. So then it kind of went all in order, you know. So we'll see where it goes next.
Fair enough. That's the exciting part of it, right?
Yeah.
How many clicks are we running on this one?
So I tend to go a little bit on the finer side than most people. I noticed. And you were between 18 to 22. I would
18 to 22. Okay, for a 13 gram dose. Yeah.
It depends. Yeah, I'll switch it up depending on how many grams I'm using.
Okay,
right.
definitely,
yeah. But for 13, 15, somewhere between 18 to 22.
Yeah. So definitely a bit on the finer. Like for us, for example, I would be running it at like 26, 27.
Yeah.
Also depending on pouring technique, right? So let's not say too much before we've seen all of it.
Yeah. So let's see.
That's a bit of counting to do.
Yeah, so we're gonna do. Let's try 22.
Okay, so on the like coarser side, just because I'm here. Otherwise, it would be 18.
23. Let's do 23. Let's see. Okay.
Again, no right or wrongs, especially not at home, right? Because you're brewing for yourself or your family, right? And then it's all about what you guys think.
But I've been using Comandante more because I was preparing for April Cup, and knew I was gonna take this and use it. So I just been kind of playing around with this more.
Yeah, sure.
Lately, I think I kind of stopped using it ever since I got all these other stuff.
But it's great if you're portable, and again, if you're competing, I wouldn't necessarily, pack this in a luggage and go with that, right? A hand grinder makes sense, right? Awesome. And then we have, these are already on. So you have some water kettles. Are you going to use both of them or only one of them?
I will use both. I set one of them to, I think 92.
You have 92 and 94. Yeah.
94, yep.
Celsius this time. In the last, I had a video in this morning that was Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I use Celsius, which is weird for here because
yeah, sure.
The way I learned coffee was through YouTube, and a lot of it was through your channel.
Ah, okay.
So then you guys are using Celsius.
Yeah.
And then also a lot of the content I saw from Korean content from Unspecialty Coffee.
Yeah.
So that's Celsius too.
Okay.
So then
sure.
I'm naturally just using Celsius.
Yeah. Okay.
It's interesting, but yeah. Okay, let's try.
Go for it. So 2 different temperatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Lead the way.
And I'm sure another topic that you always talk about is, do you rinse, do you not rinse?
Oh, always.
Yeah,
always.
Right? I've tried both. I go through phases. I would rinse sometimes. I wouldn't rinse. I've been rinsing lately because for the competition, like you just want all the the variables to be more under control, like all being wet, because it could, when you don't wet it, and it can absorb water different,
Definitely, and there's a few things to keep in mind. One thing that is not mentioned often enough with paper filter is that, and this is true for every single paper filter in the world, and people shouldn't say this live on YouTube, but when you produce paper filter, you don't produce them individually. So when you cut out paper filters, it's always in a stack of paper mass. So you're always going to have a range of inconsistency, and the usual production is about 10. So when you compete, pretty much, if you want to be 100% consistent and you have a pack of 50, there's actually only 5 of them that are identical within that pack.
That's very little.
That is very little, but this is like industry standard, right? And to be fair, April has spent a lot of energy and other things on minimizing that difference. But it's because of how you produce it, you're going to have it. So I would argue from a consistency perspective, you should absolutely rinse. Yeah.
All right, so
let's go for it.
We're gonna do 13, right? I think that's what we said.
What kind of water are you using now?
So I use my own water at home.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a reverse osmosis filter.
Of course. Yeah.
Not to brew better coffee, but just for for the
nutritional
taste of, exactly
aspect,
right. Yeah, so and then it just tastes better too, right?
For sure.
Okay, and then let's see. I think we're ready, and then I'll be using this here. Okay. So I'll show you kind of what I do, which is it might seem a little bit like do you have to do this kind of thing? Like is it necessary kind of thing? But like as I started learning about coffee through YouTube, you start developing your own kind of theory, right? And there's a very certain style I wanted, and in order for me to achieve that, I thought maybe this could help. Not to say that I have all these gadgets, but I'm doing little things that may, I guess, enhance kind of what I want to achieve.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and that's also what brewing is all about, right? It's about finding the cup of coffee that you want to drink, right?
Yeah.
It's only when you compete you have to consider judges as well, right?
Yeah, which was very interesting being there yesterday. Like you can't do what only you want to do. Like you have to consider, what the judges are looking for.
It's a mixture. The way that I do it is that I tend to do what I want to do and disregard the judges. But I do that knowing and respecting the fact that not every time I'm competing, my own ideas will correlate with them. But then what's going to happen is that one day it's going to correlate. And then, that's where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me try this here. I'm going to start with 92. I use a little bit of lower temperature than the second pour on purpose.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to avoid was I wanted to not bring out too much acidity on certain coffee, I think a lot of people tend to not like this acidity flavor in specialty coffee if you're not aware of it, right?
Yeah, sure.
So let's try this. Okay.
So we're putting the timer on. Pouring, and that's basically a standard circle pour. Up to 50, okay. How long are you gonna let this sit now?
At least about 40 to 45 seconds.
Okay.
Sometimes it may be up to even like a minute.
Okay. So you tried a lot of different times to kind of see what comes out the best.
Yeah. I just like to let my coffee sit a little longer and open up if they're light roast.
Okay.
But I guess it depends on also the roasting period too, right?
Sure.
Since when it's been roasted.
Yeah. When has it been roasted actually? We haven't talked
This
about
is actually kind of old. 2 months.
2 months, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, I think also Sey would actually argue that that's where you want to be. Especially when you're working with a lighter roasted coffee, resting it for longer allows you to get most of that CO2 out there, and that's actually a really good thing. So up to 150, so basically 100 gram pour.
So I swirl to create a little more agitation. I put a cover.
Swirl, and then you put, okay, what are we?
Kind of retain the heat a little more during this phase. I want to extract a little bit more during this phase.
Are you considering what that does with the flow rate?
It'll probably, because of the pressure it's building up, it might choke a little more.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Okay.
With this.
Sure. I've never seen this before, which is exciting. I really appreciate when I see things for the first time. Never tried it myself also.
Yeah. The whole idea is kind of like thinking like almost like oven, kind of like almost like a little bit cooking more inside, kind of extracting a little more inside with the heat being in there.
Interesting. And then at 150, you're going for maybe the last pour?
So, and I'll show you what I'm doing here.
Up to 250.
So I pour up to 250, but I'm not going to let it drain all the way.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I'm using this server. It shows what the output is.
Yeah. You have some measurements here in terms of the, I guess, milliliters. Okay. And is this a YouTube thing, or is this you've been testing a lot of different ways and you ended up doing this?
No, this is kind of how I brew my cup at home.
Okay. This is a fairly complex way to brew your coffee at home, I think, in general, right? Which, to be fair, you said before you started to brew also.
But it's just a try and error. I just want to experiment as much as I can.
So now are you pulling this at 200?
No, I'm gonna pull around 175.
175, okay.
Roughly around there.
175, also three minutes. How important was it that it was 3 minutes now? Did that matter?
I tried to keep it within 3 if I can. Okay. Yesterday I actually went to 3 minutes and 30. I was kind of testing around with it because I wanted to not make the ratio too tight. So yesterday I just changed it.
Changed it. Did you taste it before you changed it?
I did. Okay. And then I still liked it, but I knew the judges wouldn't like it.
The thing is, so he's a little bit too critical here, because the thing is, the first round of the April Brewers Cup is a knockout round, and sometimes what happens is that you're also in a heat with other people that are very good at brewing coffee. So then pretty much that it's not always I didn't make it through because my coffee wasn't tasty. Sometimes it's just someone else that happened to do a really good coffee.
Yeah,
and that's life. It happens. So what are we doing here? Are you evaluating aromatics? How do you normally drink your coffee?
Yeah, I mean,
what are we looking for here? We're looking for
they don't give you like
getting coffee,
very specific notes, flavor notes. It's more very floral, they describe it, and citrus.
Yep, so they say the profile is delicate, floral, and citrusy. That's a bit generic.
Yeah, I know.
It sounds tasty though. But in competition, you have to be a bit more specific. Biodynamic farm. That's highly unusual in Ecuador though. So that's interesting. Mm-hmm. What are you getting out of the aroma?
I mean, definitely very floral.
Direct trade. Okay, so this is like a higher priced coffee, which
I think
I'm assuming means it's going to be really tasty.
It's like for 100 grams, I think they sell for like about $60 USD.
Okay, they're making good margin on this coffee. That's a different video though.
The citrus, I get a little bit like more like a hint of like lemon zest, a little bit, kind of that feel. I could be wrong, but you know.
I think this smells actually very like well defined and quite clean. Mm. Yeah, but you're not ready yet, right? You're gonna do something else with this coffee, because I saw this yesterday, and I've heard about it. And then I had a conversation with a gentleman that was judging, Ben Kaminsky, and he has a lot of ideas about this as well, because he's been also playing around with this.
Because the idea came from, I like to drink wine, and when the flavors are so packed in, you aerate the wine in order to open up the aromas and the flavors to really come out. Yeah. I tend to brew my coffee in a kind of tighter ratio. Yeah. The reason being is I want more of that syrupy, kind of dense body and texture to really highlight the sweetness. Yeah. So that in order to do that with the tighter ratio, I tend to find the flavors too packed in, not ready to come out.
Ah, okay.
So then it feels too stiff, maybe you would say. I don't know how to describe it, but
sure, I get it.
So then my theory is by aerating, I can still maintain the texture in the body that I want, but yet let the flavors and the aromas come out more.
Open a bit more. Okay. Yeah. Can we or let me know if this affects the process, but just for the sake of like testing, can we pour a little bit?
Yeah, we're gonna pour half in here.
Okay, awesome. I would love to like just compare.
And then the aerating process will also cool down the coffee a little bit too. Yeah. So it's ready for tasting right away.
Which could definitely be beneficial when competing, as long as it doesn't get too cold. That's important. And this, where does one buy one of these? Is this like a normal?
It's just a regular wine aerator. Okay. Yeah.
Easy. So Amazon or wherever.
Yeah, anywhere. Yeah.
There's also like theoretical vision to this, right? Like I appreciate the effort of doing something different.
Not that I was intentionally trying to do something, but you're always kind of exploring.
You are always exploring. I say this is a little bit beyond exploring, at least like normal exploring, but I do appreciate that. So what's really interesting now is that this is way more floral.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this smells.
It brings out the acidity more, actually.
It smells a lot more like Sidra. Like the varietal specifically.
Yeah. So my intention was to keep the texture in the body with the tighter ratio, but yet bring out the the taste and the aromas like it's a longer ratio.
Have you ever done that on espresso?
No, with espresso I do something a little bit different.
Okay.
I aerate it in a different way.
All right, we'll get to that later. Yeah. I appreciate that. I think that aromatic, I get it. Let's see if it translates to the actual cup.
So even this cup was prepared for second round, but I didn't get to use it.
Is this where did you get them from?
It's a whiskey cup.
It's a whiskey cup.
Because a lot of whiskeys are designed. The cups are designed to really get the aroma into your nose.
Yeah, sure.
So this is the aerated version.
It's interesting. I'm not going to say anything first. Then I would talk too much. Well, what do you think?
It definitely got the body that I like. This is kind of like the texture I like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of a little bit more syrupy feeling a little bit. Yeah.
You have this like syrupy, velvety vibe to it, which I really appreciated. Again, I'd be super curious to taste let's say the one without next to it, right? But what's interesting, which is boring for you guys because you didn't try this coffee yesterday. But the thing is, yesterday there was a much, much bigger issue with the mouthfeel than this.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that maybe came from this. So it went from like a bit exciting to see someone using it to like, maybe that is causing a bad mouthfeel. But then it was something else.
Yeah, that was my concern too going into it. Like the mouthfeel wasn't there. And I don't know if it was maybe the ratio, maybe it's the resting period. I don't know, but.
I'll say it's a ratio thing, most likely.
Yeah.
Maybe used 18 on the coming on to.
No, I think I used about the same.
Okay.
But I used 15 grams instead of 13. That could have been different.
That's a big thing though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a big thing.
So I was kind of wishing like I used 13. No difference?
No difference. Not the difference is not huge. We would be lying if we said it's like night and day, right? But what happens here is that I think for me the, let's say, velvety texture to it is not here. So I think this mouthfeel is a little bit more interesting. I think what happens here is that the flavors are maybe delivered a bit clearer. So I think the thing is, for example, when you compete though, you have and a lot of people confuse this, but you have a taste experience, right, of different attributes. And it's interesting because flavor is actually just one attribute. And then you have acidity, sweetness, mouthfeel, aftertaste, right? And I think it's always interesting to see when you do something, what are you actually helping or supporting in the cup, right?
Yeah.
So when, for example, you're supporting flavor, is that in the risk of more than one attribute? Then it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Then let your flavor be what the flavor is, right? Because the other four attributes are so important. But I say this is really interesting. And I think probably aerating, considering this is a very light roasted coffee, probably helps.
And I think with the texture, it definitely helped. That was the main reason I was using it.
This is nice as well, though.
Is it?
Yeah. You don't think so?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's
You brewed it.
Yeah, I like it. I would say I like the mouthfeel on this more aerated. It could be a little bit rounder, the mouthfeel.
I mean, you have a relatively low strength brew here, actually, right? So it's not so strong. You can definitely pick it up in terms of strength and still have like a clean cup. This is more like Patrick style coffee, which I appreciate, right? But there's still this room to make it like more mouthfeel and still have like a clean taste experience.
Yeah. So what I'll do is sometimes I'll use something like a 20 gram grinded coarser in order to still get more body out of it.
Yeah.
Using more coffee, and yet taste clean as well too.
Yeah.
But a little different doing it that way. I'll play around like that kind of recipe too sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. Could you just like could you share a little bit of the process, right? So now like this is the coffee. Does this mean that this is the like only coffee you're brewing now until it's out, or are you jumping in between coffees?
No, usually I have like 3 to 5 different coffee at a time.
Okay. How many cups of coffee do you drink or brew in a day?
I actually don't drink much coffee. I can't handle caffeine that much.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like to taste them.
Yeah, sure.
So sometimes I'll just, it's kind of, I feel bad for the farmers and all that, but sometimes I'll just brew coffee multiple cups and taste and just throw it away.
Okay.
Because I can't handle it.
No, sure.
But I want to taste it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's more just, it's an experiment.
Yeah.
How are all these cups tasting different?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I do that a lot too. Yeah.
I appreciate that though. So what's the next step with this? Like when will you brew this coffee again, and what would you change then on the next version?
Yeah, so I would brew this again if I wasn't happy with this cup.
Yeah, okay.
I'll brew that next cup right away.
Oh, right away. So on the same day.
On the same right next to, yeah. Or if I can't do it, if it's too late or whatever, then next day, first thing, I'll just remember what I did yesterday and then brew it again until I get kind of something like, okay, this is decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll move on to another coffee, and then, you rotate the coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you brewing like a wide range of different roasteries, different roast degrees, or you're kind of stuck in the light roast?
I would say more on the light roast. Yeah, like kind of like your style.
Yeah.
Say maybe even like up to medium, like medium light style is okay too.
Okay.
I'm always open to trying new roasters.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
do you have any other American roastery you recommend outside of Sey?
April's the best.
But we're not an American roaster, and I did not pay him to say that. I'm just saying.
No, I do enjoy Onyx too.
Yeah, sure.
Onyx and also who? Yeah, I tend to order from different countries actually.
Yeah, sure.
Most of it.
A little bit more international.
Yeah,
I get that.
Like even from a roaster from Japan. Was it Pollen's Gold? I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like their stuff a lot too.
Yeah.
Just it's interesting to see how everyone does it differently.
Yeah.
Again, I like variety of things.
No, clearly, and you like to experiment and kind of taste, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. We're gonna wrap this up, and we're actually the next video you see here is actually gonna be with this gentleman as well, because we are gonna jump over to do some espresso, which is really interesting. With that, we just want to say thank you for inviting us. I was a little bit late to this meeting, which I'm officially online apologizing for, which I normally don't do. I was a lot late. Okay. Yeah, long story. Anyhow, I'm here. And we're really happy for the opportunity that you took the time. I appreciate it. It's a beautiful setup. Thank you guys for watching. As always, we really appreciate it. Make sure you comment, subscribe, sign up on Patreon. That's where you kind of get to know where I'm going next. So that's a good one. And just thank you for watching, and have a good day. We want to give a special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. It's because of you that we are able to continue to make these videos. And we want you all to feel free to always come with suggestions and ideas on the content that you want to see, because we are doing this for you and because of you. Thank you from all of us here at April.